Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Good as Azel run, we unlocked some stuff, could have done better. Dude, why are we so bad with Samson? Mind you, we do have the Void done with him, but still. JH9468TF, I am ready. TF, dude. When are they going to make a Team Fortress 3? We talk about it on the show now and then. What's crazy to me, okay, I played Team Fortress Classic back when, I mean, it was probably like the year 2000, 2001. So when Team Fortress 2 came out, I was like, oh my god, it has been forever since the last Team Fortress. And I realized it hasn't really been forever when you look at it in hindsight now. You know, Team Fortress Classic to Team Fortress 2 was probably like 10 years. We're on like the 12 or maybe 11 year anniversary of Team Fortress 2. And yet there's not a Team Fortress 3 on the horizon. I know it's one of those evergreen games, especially because of the art style. You can kind of look at it and be like, you know, you could still play TF2 now if you wanted. Yeah, but like, here's the thing. Annualized sequels, most people agree, tend to be pretty bad. Even though I played NHL, and actually this year's version of the game is a little bit more transformative than your average annualized sports sequel, I understand the qualms there. You're sort of paying for a roster update, no questions asked. Assassin's Creed got way too old too quickly as a result of the fact that Ubisoft was like, oh, we gotta make at least one of these a year. Ubisoft, whatever. You can pronounce it however you want to pronounce it. I'll pronounce it however I want to pronounce it, okay? But then there's also, like, you can go too long without a sequel as well. Like, who amongst us wouldn't want, like, a new Team Fortress? You telling me you wouldn't play it? I'll just play Overwatch. You'd peep it. Come on, especially if it was free. You would give it a chance. Now, I'm not saying... I also... And I say this, or I've said it on Roundtable about 1,000 times at least, but if I was in Valve's position, I would do exactly the same thing that they're doing. Why on earth would you ever risk making a video game that costs a lot of money to make and could, you know, do poorly when you could just continue taking 30% of every single Steam sale and, you know, live on a yacht all day? It's an easy... I mean, I guess one reason would be if you love making video games, but as a company... I understand Valve's position 100%. They have, like, the greatest passive income stream on planet Earth right now. You think it's a secret room? Or that's a secret room? But still, same with Diablo. I was thinking about it, you know? I know Blizzard, you know, they don't make many games. The ones they make, they put a lot of time into, and I would stand by that, even though I'm not, you know, a big World of Warcraft fan or anything like that, and don't really play Overwatch anymore. Those games have a lot of love put into them, without a doubt. Just try to get the 5 cents. Very, very mission critical as Samson. We try to get the 5 cents. Come on. Come on. But like, who amongst us wouldn't be okay with another Diablo coming out? I didn't even really like Diablo 3. I have played it. I gotta save this bomb, by the way. I love that we're gonna be able to fly. Let's focus on the positive there just to begin with. But, I played it the day it came out and did not like it very much. It was also, like, technically broken on the first day it came out. Lots of, like, I forget the error code, but, you know, basically the game borderline didn't boot. Malf and I played it a little bit. I'll admit, you know, I love my friend Malf. We have different play styles in those video games. He's very loot focused, which is the right way to play those games. I'll level with you. He's not in the wrong, even close to being in the wrong. He's very much in the right. But it was also very annoying for me, where I was like, let's go kill this big skeleton. And Malf's like, I can't. I gotta turn in my loot at the loot supplier and blah, blah, blah. You know, I gotta trade my common bracer in for an uncommon bracer. Alright. I stand by that decision. But do as I say, not as I do there, I guess. 5 cents. That's where I want to be. But if they came out with a Diablo 4, I'd peep it. I'd give it a chance. I did. When Nick was here in 2014, we got Reaper of Souls, the definitive Diablo edition, or Diablo 3 edition plus DLC on PS4. And I was very skeptical. Dude, you know, to be honest, I don't know if we've had Unicorn Stump, so we'll at least pick it up for now. And I didn't play through the whole game, but I dropped in now and then, and I was like, you know, this is a lot better. Maybe the game changed, maybe I changed, but it was a lot better. I think, like, what's the ideal sequel time? 3 or 4 years for me personally. Long enough. Well, like, if it's too short, what happens? Well, you end up in a situation where, like, you know, you're basically just getting a new story, which is fine for some games. But for others, you're like, you know, you'd like a little bit more of a technological leap, I guess is a good way to describe it. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. You know what? There's a good and a bad example, and they have the same name. Final Fantasy. You know? For a while, 7, 8, 9, and 10, there was a new Final Fantasy like every 16 months. Now, those games are beloved, admittedly, but at the same time, minus some graphical improvements, a little similar, I think it's fair to say. Then, you know, they haven't made a new well, they made Final Fantasy 15, but it took like 6 years or something ridiculous. You know, they're doing it the other way now. Here's why I say 3 or 4 years, okay? If it's like 7 years between sequels, you're at a different place in your life than when you originally fell in love with the game you want to play the sequel of to begin with. You know? I think Kingdom Hearts is a really good example that you could apply to a lot of people. I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I beat Kingdom Hearts 1 when it came out. I was 14. Actually, I was probably 13 because I got a late birthday. It was 2002. No Blood Bank. Unfortunate. Either way, I mean, how do you think I know all the lyrics to Simple and Clean by Utada Hikaru? I was of the right age. Kingdom Hearts 2, didn't play it, but could have. You know, it's still roughly of the right age, and I hear it's, you know, it's one of Kate's favorite games ever made, and she's like 3 or 4 years younger than me, depending on which one of us you ask. I think because I'm November 1988, and she's January 1992, it's closer to 3 months. She likes the 3 years. She likes the 4-year narrative. It's fine either way. Give me that goat head. And let's get out of here. But then Kingdom Hearts 3, if you loved Kingdom Hearts 2 and you played it when you were 12, Kingdom Hearts 3 is literally going to come out when you're 25. That doesn't mean you're not in a place where you can still love it, and I'm sure, like, you know, if they do right by the fans, it'll be well received, but still, it's a bit of a stretch. I think, at least. More keys, please? I do think you can release too few games sometimes. You know, you don't wrap up the story, you leave fans with a bad taste in their mouth. Half-Life's a really good example. I mean, people were probably, the whole time I was having this conversation with myself, were probably like, when is he going to bring up Half-Life? Well, I'm one of those guys who never played Half-Life 2. I know, it's crazy. I don't subscribe to RPG Master Race either. I'm like a bad PC gamer. I mostly just mind my own friggin' business. Either way, what do you got for me? Ooh, I don't want to use it on this floor, but I will use it. Maybe I do want to use it on this floor. First off, I might have been hit there. But secondarily, I also, you know, with Goathead, why not get this deal with the devil ASAP? Either get it out of the way or get something good. You know, I kind of feel the same way about Half-Life for sure. But I don't think it's ever gonna happen. I think Valve missed the window for Half-Life 2, and if they announced it now... I mean, I guess there's always the chance it comes around with like a Blade Runner 2049 sort of redemption arc, where it's like, well, you're gonna really make a sequel 30 years after the original and expect it to be good? And Denis Villeneuve was like, oui. So, fair enough. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what game I think is doing it right and doing it quietly? The modern Tomb Raiders. I had no love for the original Tomb Raider franchise whatsoever, except with my PlayStation, I got a demo disc that had Tomb Raider 2 on it. I never even beat the demo level for Tomb Raider 2, but I probably played that demo like 15 times. And you're like, I know why you were playing it. No, you don't. I was like 9 years old, okay? Not of the age where I'd be doing lewd things to my PlayStation 2 demo disc and the FMVs therein. We want them both for sure. But it's just a franchise that, you know, at that point, it not really interested me. And then as I, well, like in 2012, come on. I played that new Tomb Raider, and I was like, this is really good. And then I beat it. And then in 2015, I played the Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I went, this is really good. And then I beat it. And now it's 2018. You know, once every 3 years, they're coming out with a Tomb Raider. Apparently, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is also really good. Will I play it and beat it? I don't know. You know, to be honest with you, I have a little bit less free time than I did even a couple of years ago. So I'm not going to pencil it in, but I guess if there was ever a week for it to happen, it would be this week while I'm living that bachelor life. I know, there's people in the comments. Why don't you just stop playing NHL so you can play Tomb Raider? Well, okay, so deprive myself of my personal enjoyment of NHL and play Tomb Raider, which I admittedly would probably also enjoy based on my the fun I've had in the franchise so far, so I could talk about it for 5 minutes in an Isaac episode after playing it for 8 hours. Doesn't necessarily seem like a great use of my time. You know, I'm gonna head down to the next floor. I'm gonna skip out on shop opportunities here because I really don't want to buy anything from the shop. I want to make sure we get a chance at a blood bank so we can actually make this run start to pop. Like, here's the thing. About 11 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. most days, you can audit my time. That's fine. Playing Isaac, playing Dungeon, Darkest Dungeon, I should say. Playing Slay the Spire, doing the NLSS, you know, doing Team Unity streams. You get the idea. That time is our time, you and me together. After that, there's no time auditing. It's one of the things about being a YouTuber that is, you know, it can be frustrating sometimes. I'm always like, my whole life is a bit whenever I talk to other people. Like, I've been talking about this chili recipe. Well, not even the chili recipe. I was just like, I made chili. And then I get like, and I'm flattered because it also is like a side effect of what allows me to like live my life and buy groceries and etc., etc. And I'm very thankful for the support. But sometimes it gets a little tedious when I go, I made chili. And then I get 100 messages in a heartbeat that are like, what's in the chili? And I'm like, oh, there's no meat. It's just got like beans and chickpeas and tomatoes and onions, and people are like, no meat, you can't. Here's the Wikipedia article for chili. You can't make a chili without a meat. Really, taxonomically, is more of a bean soup. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. You know what? I'm gonna go. See you later. I see that this is important to you. I don't necessarily share the same rigorous belief on this particular issue, so I'm gonna have to like, you don't own my lunch. All right? We can still get along. We can have conversations, etc., etc., but just, here's the thing. That's a conversation I'm happy to have with my co-hosts, but like other times, it's all good. Similarly, it's like, you know, one of the most frustrated feelings in the world is being like ambushed for a debate. You know, and here's the thing. A lot of the time, it happens to what I would describe as kind of bad people, or people who have done bad things. Hold on, let me peep this real quick. Rotten Baby, very good item. Very happy to see it. Betrayal, terrible, but life goes on, I suppose. You know, there'll be like, you know, an Enron CEO leaving the building, and a reporter will go, hey, what does this say on page 35 of this document that your accountant filed 17 years ago? And they're like, oh, I don't recall. And you're like, yeah, I bet you don't recall, you piece of garbage. But like, particularly the endeavoring to eat less meat sort of initiative has led to me having a lot of like, well, not having, because I'm a non-participant, but like being exposed to a lot of like people that are like, debate me, you coward. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna live my own adult 29-year-old life and like enjoy myself instead. Well, sure, eating less meat is better for the environment, but do you know where the lentils that you put in your chili were sourced from? Because if they were grown in Peru, then you know it's not as good for the environment. Okay, fair enough. I just want you to know, like, you're not wrong, but I didn't come prepared with a rebuttal, because I don't live my life expecting every culinary choice I make to be beset on all sides by the kind of scrutiny that nobody applies to their own life and only applies to other people on the internet, okay? It's just the darn truth of it. Beyond that, I gotta tell you, like, as your friend, this is why people stopped inviting you to stuff. Is because, you know, when you sneeze, someone says bless you, and you go, I reject your bless you because that's a brainwashed cult of Christianity. Everyone's like, dude, it's just a habit that people say to be nice. Don't be weird about it, okay? You're being weird about it. Stop being weird about it. Just let the man is me in this case, as you know, enjoy his chili. And, you know, I don't know, why don't you watch an episode of something? You know, slow your roll. Relax. Enjoy life. Doesn't have to, not everything has to be a bit. With me, everything has to be a bit, but you guys are innocent. You can save yourself from this kind of lifestyle. Something's wrong with this run. It's good. Run Necropolis 1, that's right. It's good, but it's not good enough yet. We're really... Desperate is not the word that I would use necessarily, but... eager would be the word that I would use to get some real DPS upgrades. We've given ourselves both major chances at getting the IV bag and have not even had the opportunity to be disappointed by the blood bag yet, or by the blood bank, I should say. We're not light on HP, but we're very light on red hearts, which makes playing the blood bank a little bit harder, but to be honest, I would leverage whatever we have to leverage to make it happen. Up to a, you know, a point, I suppose. Feels like a secret room. Wrong? Otherwise, I mean, the run's still, it's okay. It's okay, full stop. We don't need to be overly negative, but simultaneously, there's a lot of room for improvement. Anyway, I'm not, believe you me, I'm not complaining about my lot in life. I'm just describing something you might see as a little bit frustrating. I don't want to, you know, and I'm not, like, in general, at least, one of those YouTubers or Twitch streamers who's like, the job makes me miserable. I wake up and I'm like, I get to play video games and people think I'm funny. That's weird. You know, it's a pretty flattering existence until you say the word wrong, like I almost did right there, and then people make fun of you and suggest you have a brain injury. But anyway, apart from that, it's a dream come true. I'm just saying, you know, imagine if you, I mean, it's my fault for talking about it, admittedly. But imagine if you ate, like, a spaghetti sandwich for lunch, and then for the next week, anytime your username popped up anywhere, people were like, how's that spaghetti sandwich treating you? And you gotta be like, it was okay. And then, why would you ever besmirch your own character by eating something as debasing as a spaghetti sandwich? I'm like, I don't know, I was hungry. Don't you realize how many carbohydrates were in that spaghetti sandwich that you ate haphazardly? Yeah, I guess it is pretty carb heavy, I suppose. Aren't you worried about getting insulin sensitivity as a result? I mean, I guess I was just really trying to get a quick lunch in the... Why not a linguine sandwich? Or a sandwich with penne instead? Well, I didn't have those in the... But, you know, it's an idea, I suppose, for the future. Moreover, what kind of bread did you use? I hope you didn't use a baguette. A baguette is a French bread, and spaghetti is an Italian. You get the idea. I don't need the... The point is, this is all based on real life. It just is fine. But sometimes you're like, I don't want to have this conversation again. It's okay. You can bring it up. If I don't want to talk about it, I'll probably just ignore it. And that's okay too, you know? I don't want to be the guy who has to type in a chat like, I don't want to talk about the spaghetti sandwich anymore, can we drop it? It's mostly just the back and forth you have with chat, you know? It's a very big brother, little brother relationship, and I've said this many, many times in the past, but, you know, I'm the big brother, I'm like the cool, like the quarterback of the football team. Going on dates like all the time, really smart too, 4.0 GPA. And then, you know, chat, they're like the little brothers, like they're kind of a dork, and like at school I have to, you know, stop the bullies from taking their lunch money, but like they're cool like in their own unique way, you know? So we have that little back and forth of like, you know, etc, etc. You know what? It's gonna kill me, I think, but I am going to take 7 seals. And I'm taking it because we haven't had it yet, but it's very, very dangerous. This is a tough choice. I think I'm going to go Cat of Nine Tails. but the toothpicks is also great. You could run, I'm sure, like a statistical analysis on which one of those is actually better, by the way. And I don't know which one it would be. I'm pretty sure it's not like the difference between, you know, Brimstone and like Betrayal, but I may have taken the wrong one, or I may have taken the right one. I just went with the one that I thought was right in the momento. So, this floor, I do see that blood bank. I am unconcerned about boss rush whatsoever. I think we've already done it. We've already done it. So we want to do another dark room run. This would be probably our most likely floor to actually stack up some usable, like, HP. Like a lot of spirit hearts. I know we have 9 lives. Well, we have 8 lives now, but we also, I mean, if we can get blood bag, I would be completely okay with that. Instead, we got IV bag, and your boy has to do some soul searching, because as of right now, I mean, you can see for yourself, we have 0.68 speed, thanks to the virus, and maybe, did we get small rock? We might have gotten small rock. So, I'm very happy to have the IV bag and to have gotten it so quickly. Would have preferred the blood bag, but I'm happy we got it regardless. It was a very small ask. And your head was all the way up it. It's Professor Oak playing Al Pacino's character from the 1994 movie Heat. Ah, it came out in freaking 1995, you idiot. Anyway, hey, don't explode, please. You gotta be very careful while this is going on. If we get a lot of speed upgrades, or maybe just the ability to fly, and 1 speed upgrade, we might consider taking IV bag, because it is like a win condition as Samson. But I'd kind of look at IV bag and go like, you know what? You lost your window. You had a window. IV bag had it, lost it, and now, you know, it's not really an ideal choice for us. Still, I mean, we get books here. Book of Shadows is pretty awesome, but with 0.68 speed, just literally, I don't think we can do it. The invincibility is not worth the cost on every other room. So this is going to be a touchy run as we go a little further here. I was actually really hoping that would be a full run reroll. And you know you're in a bit of a dicey spot when you're actually hoping for one of those, instead of like, yeah, this will be fun. You know, we're like, one of those would probably win me the run. Or at least make it more likely that I win. Again, Shears is a good item that we, in fact, a great spacebar item, we cannot take as a result of the fact that, there we go, as a result of the fact that our speed stat, if we lose the pony, is just horrible. I should actually point out, though, if it weren't for the pony, we would actually be exposed to our speed stat all the time. So I think I'm, like, above all else, just happy that we at least got the pony and are not stuck with the speed at which we started, and potentially deserved, depending on your perspective. So that's our 500th I'm excited pill. I feel like you still, you know, you give this one a chance to impress you. Oh, why would you do just terrible. Still, we got something out of that. I don't know if we've had deck of cards, so I'm just picking it up to use it more or less. I'm gonna donate all of our money. We're gonna do our darndest to make sure this run has something productive going on, you know? And everything else I don't think we need at all. I guess we will push for the win here. 15 damage temporarily, but frightened for future prospects. I don't know, it's going okay. Remember, we got this deal with the devil as well, and the great thing about, well, the interesting thing about having such low HP, as we take this, is we could pretty much, well, it's Krampus, unfortunately, but we could pretty much take whatever deal we wanted and be at the same level of HP. We would just sack a life in the process. But actually, especially if that pays out, which it did, we're looking all right as far as HP goes. But remember, our damage is going to be about half of what it was, actually less than half of what it was when we come down here. So This is one of the few times that I will actually tell you I am very happy with 7 Seal. Odd Mushroom, sure. Dude, why not? But 7 Seal, it's, 7 Seals, I should say. It's damage we can get behind. Damage we're happy with, damage we could use. With the goat head, you have to imagine it's just a matter of time before we get Mom's knife. It's not a question of when. Anyway, you get the idea. It doesn't have to be Mom's knife. It's more just like I found the opportunity to play that Canadian classic rock staple. Well, it's not, I mean, it's 90s rock. 90s classic. That's a bit. We can explore that bit a little. When I was a kid, classic rock radio, 60s, 70s, 80s. 20 years later, classic rock radio, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Classic rock has become a genre, and the genre is closed. Actually, you know what? There are the occasional 90s songs that have made it in a classic rock radio rotation, but not at the same pace that songs from those 3 decades have made it in. I think, at least. I might be biased because those are the only ones I have in living memory, so they feel, you know, like I would recognize them more, I suppose. But still, sometimes I hear people having conversations. It's Guppy's Pop. It's great news. Sister Maggie, not at all great news, but okay, I'm sorry I couldn't make something happen there, but that's okay. We got the belt as well, which is actually not bad, but keep it up. People sometimes are like, what songs from the current, you know, decade do you think will make it onto classic rock radio? I'll tell you, there actually are some, but I'm not happy about it because they're all going to be by Imagine Dragons. If you like Imagine Dragons, I'm sorry that I don't like them. It's not meant as a personal insult. I don't need to really belabor the point. It's not my scene, okay? There was someone asked a question in, I forget which chat it was. I don't think it was mine, but I was there, which is unusual. But they were like, what songs from the past, like, from the 2010s, do you think, like, in 50 years, well, maybe not 50, let's be reasonable. What songs within the past 10 years do you think in 20 years will still be considered, like, masterpieces or classics? Because I think we can all agree, you know, there's songs from the 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s, all going way back, that you consider a classic. You know, even if you don't necessarily love it, like I don't love Bohemian Rhapsody, but I respect that it's a classic song. I've just heard it too much. What songs from the 2010s do you think fit that bill? And I don't know. I can think of some albums, admittedly. Oh, you are a fool. Like, I know it's hilarious to suggest it because it's like one of the only even semi-recent albums I'm familiar with, but To Pimp a Butterfly, that's gonna go down as, like, you know, when they're making like best of rap music lists in 2028, that's still gonna be on there. It's at least in the top 100. I don't think that's very debatable. I'm not saying it's the best ever made, I'm just saying. But in terms of like singles that I would look to and be like, that song bangs, I can go back to the 2000s and be like, you know, there's several, I think. That's alright, we're gonna get that Demon Heart. Like, Hey Ya is a classic. Absolutely bangs. I was literally just thinking of Outkast songs over and over. Now, the fact that I can't think of any doesn't mean, oh, DAE, modern music, blah, blah, blah. It's more like I haven't listened to the radio enough to really figure it out. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And, you know, leave them in the comments, but also tweet me. Every tweet should start with, as per the discussion you had on the Isaac episode released on blah day, I think in 10 years a classic song will be bleh. And I'll be like, okay. Thank you for your feedback. Who is this Beyonce? I've never heard of her. That's not true. Of course I'm familiar with Beyonce. I will say, though, my knowledge of Beyonce, I know the entire Destiny's Child songography, at least singleography. I'm a survivor. Pay my telephone bills. Say my name, say my name. All the ladies who independent. You know, I know them all. Well, probably almost all of them at least. But Crazy in Love comes out 2003. That's pretty much where my Beyonce knowledge stops. Although I have heard Formation. I saw it at the Super Bowl 3 years ago, roughly. And I have heard Halo. Not necessarily my scene, but a virtuosic vocal performance, absolutely. It's kind of like there's a few artists that fit that bill for me. Like I would never, excuse me, Ruka, can you not be crazy? I got a cat anecdote. One of my favorite kinds of anecdotes. We're guppy. That's great news. Forget everything else you thought you knew. We've already fought Hush. I don't want to do Delirium. So here's what I'm thinking. Grab this, head down, and enjoy yourself. Yeah, we did take the negative, thank God. You know, like Norah Jones, Alicia Keys, Beyonce, respect them amazingly as artists. Would never ever put on like an Alicia Keys album in my home and be like, this is my jam. Some people want it all. That's not really what she says. I was trying to do the drum fill and I failed miserably. I see them on the same level that I see, like, you know, Beethoven. You know, some people are going to be like, that's ridiculous. How dare you compare Beyonce to Beethoven? And I'm like, dude, rank them. Rank them. I know you're going to end up putting some modern artist above Beethoven. And I want to judge you the same way this straw man has judged me. Well, surely you can't put Beyonce above Beethoven, but Paramore, on the other hand, you know, everyone's got their own preferences. Like, I respect Beethoven, and I'm embarrassed to admit that, and it's just, this is classical music in general, okay? My wife plays in sometimes 2 orchestras, and I've been watching her play the oboe in live concert performances basically as long as we've been dating, married, obviously. What did we unlock here? I still am at the point where I don't enjoy most classical music. I can merely appreciate it. And I'm working on it, but it takes some time. It does. And I'm embarrassed to admit, you know, probably because of the fact that I grew up listening to music with, you know, like, songs are 4 minutes long and there's words in them, that's what I'll always hew towards. Almost every single time. Like, I feel like when it comes to, like, rock music, I know what to listen for, and as a result, I can be like, oh, they kind of sound like this, and, well, that's interesting that they were founded in, Montreal in 2003, and they have a sound that's completely different than Wolf Parade. You know, that's probably what people, when they go to classical music concerts, are like, you know, well, this is a very atypical symphony for Schubert, but I'm not there yet, okay? And I hope I will be one day, because that'd make my life a lot easier, to be honest, to be able to appreciate this stuff on a deeper level. But anyway, why try to sneak under him? It worked, but why try? Anyway, the cat anecdote is very simple. And unfortunate, well, unfortunate for me. Cats going a little crazy. I played with them. Oh, they just pooped. I can hear the litter box. Yeah, it's a robot litter box, okay? Get over it. Took a long grind to get these views. Regardless, what I was gonna say is, your boy, that's me, brushing his teeth last night after playing with the cats. I hear the sound of a breaking glass, and then 2 cats going meow, and then I go to my room, and like the 15 minutes of the day that I left the glass unsupervised, cats knocked it over, and because it's from Daiso, it broke. And I was like, you really, at 2 in the morning, you have to break a glass for me? Just make my life, like, right as I'm getting ready for bed, and I'm like, that's enough work for today. They're like, just one more thing, Daddy, for no reason. Okay, don't throw your HP away, please. I'd prefer to not throw your HP away. We may, I hope we don't, but we may need it for the lamb fight. I feel like, and this is not meant to just be baseless complaining, it's more of an observation on a run where, you know, things are otherwise going really well. We haven't had, like, a high luck chest or darkroom run lately. We've got, like, a lot of runs where we get no items at all. That was very pleasant. Couple runs where we get, like, one item. Well, this is going very, very well. I've got nothing to worry about, man. No, I would not like to do a victory lap, but we're knocking stuff out here. I'm feeling in the groove again. Samson's Lock. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It's a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!